Complete shock and disbelief.
The whole thing.
I don't know. I think that it's actually kind of strange that everybody's talking about how nothing would ever be the same again, but it seems to me that New York is pretty much the same as it used to be. It's almost like people have forgotten what happened in a way, and maybe that's a little bit sad. I'm not really sure. Personally, it made me feel that you should live for today and accomplish the things that you want to get done as soon as you can, because you never know if tomorrow is going to be around.
Just the lives lost and the change of the landscape that we live in New York.
How did it affect you personally?
Personally, having worked there for different times throughout my life, as well as I had a lawyer that worked there a few years back, and having spent a lot of time there, I think of the enormity of the amount of people that worked there, the actual hustle and bustle. It was almost a little city within itself. I'd say it changes how you live your life. Even today I was thinking, and we're almost, about a year from it, it makes you a little bit more realize how precious life really is, as opposed to just letting days go by. There's so many people that got up that morning, and you hear all the stories of just regular everyday life, of getting up and going to work and kissing their wives goodbye or kids goodbye, or making plans for later on that week, or whatever it is, living their lives, and then not coming back. And it's emotionally it gripped me for the first few months, and the lingering effect will probably last throughout my whole life. It's probably something akin to somebody growing up in World War II era Europe, where your whole life is just changed after that fact. You see life at a different angle.
I guess I can talk about my own experience. I taught upstate last year, and we actually had an evacuation drill called by the principal saying everyone should leave the building calmly and quietly while we were actually watching on television. So we were about an hour northwest of Manhattan, but at the same time we still really felt it, because a lot of people teaching in the school had relatives, a lot of the students had relatives, and it's probably the first time I've ever watched a news report and felt connected to it. All other times, it's foreign affairs, things like that you watch, you feel sympathy for the people.
What comes to your mind when you think about it? What pops into your head?
I guess just what pops in my head is the fear people in the higher levels felt of the building. The first thing I felt could affect me personally and did affect me personally, so usually you watch things about things that happen in Israel, things that happen abroad, and you feel bad for the people, but you never feel personally connected, and that was the first time I was upset and nervous.
Thousands of people dying and this country and the world changing. I saw it on TV, and at first I didn't like understand what was happening. It looked like a movie, and then I started thinking about for every one person that died, and there were thousands, that person has a whole family of 30, and then friends, 50 friends each person, and the thousands and thousands of people that were affected. That affected me to think about how many people were how many people's lives someone in their lives was lost.
What comes to your mind when you think about 911?
Well, the phone emergency phone number, or the date. Probably the date would come first in my mind.
And what comes to your mind?
Oh, for New York?
Yeah.
I would say that it's an interesting point in time right now, because it's something which is being continuously backgrounded in the foreground of the background. New York is continuously kind of moving beyond that, but
image, what pops in your head?
The image, The image for me, I mean, the personal image for me was keeping my kid away from the window so he didn't watch the World Trade Center go down.
That's your main thought.
That would probably be the first image that comes to my mind.
How did it affect you?
Personally, it was horrible. I've lived in this town for pretty much most of my life, and it was horrible to see that happen in my town. I think I've been more disgusted and horrified by the United States response since then. I think this vulgar nationalism and wrapping ourselves in the flag has bothered me more than the actual act of atrocity that was committed on that day.
So what do you feel about it? How does it affect
that day, or about
how did it affect you?
The crash into the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
Well, it curtailed my work. The magazine I work at is very close to the World Trade Center, so it affected us financially, it affected us emotionally. It affected everything.
What did it do to you?
To me personally, I think it created a disjunction between a kind of disconnect between what I feel and what the rest of the United States feels. I didn't feel like an incredible vendetta against poor people who've been, victimized. I could understand their anger, and I couldn't really relate to this urge to continue to work our aggressive international policies overseas.